We are on day 2 of our 12 days of crafting advent calendar. So we are ready to start on day 2. So just a reminder, yesterday we made this card here and I love it. I think it turned out really, really well. So let's see what is in container number 2. And we will make a card out of that one. So the camera's a little bit low, but we're going to be opening up this larger, I think it's the largest one. I would say any guesses, but I do not know. But if I based on size, I would say paper or embossing folder, but I do not know. So let's see what we have behind day 2. This is so fun. Oopsie. So let's see what we have in here to work with. And then we will figure out. I was thinking about colors this morning. Oh, I think it's paper. It is. Oh, look at that. We have paper, guys. I am loving it. Look at that. All right, there it is. Let's go ahead. We'll get this out of the way and let's take a look at this designer series paper. This is beautiful. I am liking it. All right, let's open it up and see what we have here. You know, when you try to avoid seeing certain things, you really do. Because I haven't seen any cards with this. So this is fun. All right, so it looks like, if I had to guess, maybe 20, 3, 6, 9, no, 12, about 24 maybe. So this is one side. We'll have to flip through this together, right? Oh, and the other side's blank. So that makes it nice and easy for us, right? All right, so here we go. And it doesn't tell us what colors, so we'll just guess. But this looks like it's the basic beige. It looks like we have some Night of Navy, maybe Misty Moonlight. Could be some pinks, Old Olive, Garden Green. Yeah. Oh, look at this. Very pretty. Let's see what else. We have some pinks here. Loving this. Might be pretty in pink. Oh, look at these. So these are like daisies. Some yellow there. That could be Darling Duckling. And then we have some green. It's like Old Olive. And maybe, yeah, Old Olive. Garden Green, maybe. Oh, it could be Granny Apple. Oh, I think it might be a little Granny Apple green in there. Not sure. We have some blues. Yep. And some other little smaller flowers. And then some of the dark flowers that you can see match those dyes as well. Okay. So there are our papers. So we're going to use these today, then, in our card. And I got to say, so I set aside some blues, not going to lie. And I set aside some crumb cake because I was like, oh, I think maybe that's what I'll use. But I am thinking either this one or this one here. But I think what we'll do is we'll use this one. Okay, so we're going to take a piece of this cardstock right there, or a piece of designer paper, and this is the one we'll run with. Because the other thing I was thinking is if we could do something, I realize it's flowery, but maybe something that is somewhat, maybe a little masculine for our card. So I am going to take the piece of crumb cake, I think. Ugh. Not as the card base, so I don't like that. So we're going to use this. We'll use a piece of our basic white. So we'll bring in our paper trimmer. And we're going to make it 5.5 by 8.5. I think we're going to do something a little different as far as our fold. So let's go ahead and make it let's go ahead and score it at 4.25 for just our regular. But then we're going to score it at 2 inches as well. Okay. All right. So there we go. This is our kind of going to be our card base. And let's go ahead and get our bone folder out. Excuse me. And then we'll fold this over. Now it is going to, as you can see, it is not going to meet completely up. So we're going to have that as a nice border there. All right, so let's take some of our beautiful paper. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to have this be our main focal point right here. So let's go ahead and cut this down to, this is 2 inches by 5.5. So we're going to make it 1 7/8 by 5 3/8. So we're going to say 1 7/8. Let me get this on the screen here. Make it 1 7/8. That paper is so pretty. And by 5 3/8. So if any of you are new demonstrators, you know that there is going to be there's kind of like a contest, so to speak, going on with, we're going to do this little by little, by the way. Let me get this out of the way because we're going to use that next. There's going to be a contest on selling kits or purchasing kits, whatever, which is such a great time because they make awesome gifts. And when you sell 10 or purchase 10, you are going to get a free pack of Designer Series paper. So I was thinking about that as that paper was coming through. You're going to get, I think it's they're full 12 by 12 sheets. And I think you get 12 of them. Anyhow, and then you get a free class with it. So yeah. So all those people who joined in October, it's like, what an awesome deal to then try to, not try, but, if you have friends or somebody that might like some kits for Christmas, you can either purchase them as gifts or you could have a class with some friends, a neighborhood event, Thanksgiving event, whatever. All right, there we go. Isn't that pretty? It's pretty already. I love it already. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put like a square here. And I think I'm looking at the colors that I have here. So I brought some Night of Navy. That is that would be a pretty small square. So we're just going to see what we got. I think I didn't bring maybe a big enough size here, but I think we'll do, let's see, decisions. Okay, I'm going to go and get a larger piece of Night of Navy because I think that, or it could be Secret Sea there too. So, but I think, Mossy Meadow. Let's see. Let's do Mossy Meadow. I'll be right back. You guys, I said Mossy Meadow, but I meant Misty Moonlight. So that's kind of funny. All right. So let's go ahead. I'm looking for one other item and we'll see if I can find it. So what we're going to do is we are going to make a piece that is, oh, we'll say 3.5 by 2.5. Okay. So let's take our paper trimmer first. We might make it 3 3/4 actually. Well, actually we'll go 2.5. Yeah, 2.5 by 3 3/4. All right, and let's go ahead. And this will be our kind of our background piece. But what we're going to do with this one is we're going to run it through the corrugated design embossing folder. All right. So we're going to go ahead and take this and put it in our machine here. I just love this folder. I think it's one of, I think there's many pretty ones, but this one, I love it. And I think it is so versatile. So let me go ahead and move some of our plates around here. And we will run this through our cut and emboss machine. So I'll kind of pull it over here. Just remember, I'm sure most of you know this, but when you put this in your cut and emboss machine, always make sure the enclosed side is at the top. And that way, when the pressure hits it, it can escape out the back and is not going to, we have taken away one extra. Oops, no. There we go. But what happens is if you, excuse me, if you don't do that, then the pressure tries to come out that enclosed side if you put it in this way first. And that's what causes it to split. And it may not split the first time, but it's just, over time. Okay, so that is going to be our piece there. Now we're going to grab piece of that dark, or let's take a piece of white first here. And because this is what do we say? We're going to make it 2.5 by 3 3/4. So let's get a piece of white and we'll stamp some flowers on here. Okay. So it was 2.5. So we'll go, because we really want to see a lot of that border. So let's go 2. So we'll take a 1/2 inch off that direction. Let's just make sure we get a good, yep. And then it was 3 3/4. So we'll say 3 1/4. And that should give us a nice piece in the middle there, but allows us to see a lot of that corrugated body. And you know what? I might take just a 1/4, a little bit more off the bottom. I think I might want to see just a little more of that. Yeah, I think I like that maybe just a tad bit better right there. Okay. And then while we're here, let's go ahead and this will be, even though our inside piece is white, we will still put a piece of white cardstock in there. But we might actually put that up on a piece of cardstock as well. So we'll wait and see if what we decide to do on that one. Okay, so let's go ahead and take our piece here, and we will get out we'll take Misty Moonlight, and we are going to stamp some of the flowers here on this piece. And we're going to do them in a variety of shades, but we'll use this flower here. And then we'll put kind of a label on it. All right, here we go. All right, so here we go. So let's go ahead and ink that guy up. And let me grab, I'm going to grab the piece of foam here, just because we want to make sure we get some good, and you know, what else do we need to put something, actually, I'll do this. So I'm going to put this underneath our mat here. That way we have that foam. All right, so here we go. So we're just gonna stamp, and now I'm gonna stamp off and stamp on and get some two tones going here. And we'll maybe put another one maybe up here. By the way, the reason I can't then stamp again is because if you notice on the block, if I do, you'll get some really dark pieces and some white or light. So I'll just stamp on here and you guys will see. So if I were to do a second generation stamp, that's what I would get. So that wouldn't look good, obviously, right? So then in that case, we're just going to stamp off on the side, and then again, we'll stamp there. So there we go. And then what we'll do is we have a heart stamp, and I think that might look kind of cool if we put just a couple little hearts in there. But what we're going to do again is I'm going to stamp, and I'm going to just see what this looks like. So I think what I'm going to do is do the third one. So I'm going to ink it up, and I'm going to stamp twice and then stamp once on the card, okay? And do the same thing. Stamp twice, and then I'm going to stamp on the card, and one more time, stamp twice, and then stamp on the card. So there is our piece that we will put on top of our corrugated piece of cardstock. So let's take this right here, and we are going to actually, I think, we have some of this thread pack here, and we've got some Night of Navy. So even though we're dealing with Misty Moonlight, I think what I'm going to do is let's take these pieces, and we will glue this directly down on here. Then we'll wrap it with twine, and then we'll put this up on some dimensionals. I think that will look really pretty. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll take our adhesive. Oops, excuse me. You guys have a new camera light coming. I'm super excited about it. I like this. I have one of those Archon ones, which I like because it's got a heavy base, but I don't like it because it's really hard to, like, if I wanted to show my face and then turn the camera down, it's just not very conducive to that. So and I have just the one camera. I think I might try to start, you know, if I could use my laptop and then switch, but you know, I don't do that either. Not quite that talented yet. All right, so there we go. I'm going to move this out of the way for a moment. And now we're going to take some of our, now this may take you guys a while to dry. And you have to make sure you get a lot in there because you can see how grooved it is, and you want to make sure it sticks. but I think we're good. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this around a couple, 3 times. And then we will tie a bow over on the side. And when I tie twine, I typically try to go underneath all the twine that I've wrapped around there. And that way I can get a good, you know, a good, what's the word? Just, you know, get it so it doesn't like bubble up. But we have a solution if it does. So I'll show you that too. All right, so there we go. So we'll stretch that out, and then we'll give them a good nudge again. And then we'll cut a tail. All right. See how that's just slightly loose? So what I will probably do is get a glue dot. If I had a tape runner here, right here in with me, I would get that, but that's okay. So I'm just going to put a couple of these glue dots on here. But what it allows you to do is now you can take your thread and kind of just lift it, you know, up and put it on there and kind of stretch it a little bit. That way it doesn't bubble at the front. Just again, total personal preference on my part. I just kind of prefer. And then I'm going to stretch this out just a tad, just to give it a little more dimension. Okay. All right. Now we can take our card base, which is right here, and we're going to pop this up on some dimensionals on this side. And then what we're going to do is we're going to stamp our, we're going to put our sentiment on here. So let's go ahead and we want to only put dimensionals on this side. So let me find some dimensionals here. Oh, you know what? I have this right here. So we're going to we might be able to finish this pack. Remember, I only want them to go on half, so I'm going to do it kind of like that. Here we go. And let me think here. We want it to take that one off. Okay, we'll just put this down there. Can never have too many dimensionals, right? Okay, so there we go. That looks pretty good. That I think will stay. We'll just really make sure those are adhered. And then we will take these all off. And then attach that to our card base. All right. And now we're just going to pop that, look kind of where the center is. Which that looks pretty good. And now we are going to stamp our sentiment over here. Now you guys, one of those colors looks like cloud cover. And I thought I had it, but I don't. And again, I'm trying to stick with colors that are in one family, right? So we are going to use, I'm going to grab a piece of basic white here. And we are just going to put a sentiment here. And then we'll cut that out. And it'll live probably somewhere right, I don't know. We might flag it. Put it somewhere over here or here. Okay, so let's look at our greetings now. And again, it's such a beautiful card. Let's go ahead and do birthday wishes, or you know what, big thanks. I'm going to do big thanks because I might have to get a different piece of paper. And as I look, I might even need I don't know, I can use this block. Let me go ahead and clean this stamp. All right. And now what we'll do, we'll go ahead and as I'm doing this, I'm thinking I have an idea of something else we can add. So we're going to do big thanks. There we go. And we'll get ourselves a different piece of cardstock, right? That's not going to work. So we'll use this piece here, and we're going to use our Knight of Navy. Yeah, we'll use Knight of Navy. And this stamp set, by the way, I don't know if you guys have noticed, it has like this little loop. For the longest time, I was like, I think there's something wrong with that. But it was just the way I was, it was just the way I was putting it down on the block here. So, all right. There we go. Beautiful. Oops. All right. Now we'll go ahead and we're going to cut that right off. All right, we'll get our paper trimmer. I'm just not that good at cutting things straight. So we'll go right to about there. There we go. And then in this case, what we can do is grab our scissors, and I think I will, let me look at it on here. I think what we'll do is we'll flag this end here. So I'm just gonna look for kind of the middle and then line up. By the way, I do own that flag punch, and I love it for this very reason. I'm just not as good sometimes with the, you know, trimming of these flags. And then I am going to just go straight down along that on the other side, just because I think I am going to have it live just like that. Or I might move it around a little bit. We'll see. The other thing we could do that sometimes I like is this right here. Do it kind of at an angle. I kind of like that too. What do you guys think? Because this looks plain up here. We almost need one of those flowers, don't we? Come to think of it, let's do that really quickly. You know what? Let's do this. Let's see if we can take, because it's not like we can't maybe look at some of our designer series paper. I wonder if any of the dies cut out. I don't know if they do. I'm guessing not. So you know what we're going to do? We're just going to stamp one really quick, and we're going to take it out with the dies. Let's do that. So let's first stamp, and we're going to use just that smaller one. You know, we're going to kind of stick with what we have. And we will also stick with the blues, I think. So we'll get this one out of the way. I think we used the Knight of Navy for those. So why don't we do one? Let's see what one in Misty Moonlight looks like here. Let's see. Maybe I did it in Misty Moonlight. Yeah, I think I did. Okay, that's fine. We'll do it in this one here. And we'll do, yeah, that's good. So let me grab the dies back out of our kit here. I'll put them all back so we wouldn't lose them. So we'll get that die back out, the small one here. By the way, you guys, I have to show you because I did do the one that we didn't use yesterday. Look at that. So I think we're going to make a card with it sooner or later. All right. Oh, you know what I just noticed, by the way? Look at this. It's got like kind of the floweries like you would have in that paper. Kind of cool. All right. So we're just going to take this right here. We're going to line this die up just like that. Like, let's find the one that curves, which I think is, let's see. Find it, maybe. All right, so there we go, right there. And let's go ahead and run that right through. And get our other plates here. And bring this right through. All right. You know, it's funny, right? Because I have everything right here. And it gets kind of moved around and gets lost. Okay, so we're just going to run this flower right through. And we will pop that on some dimensionals here. There we go. Guys, I'm going to have some stuff that I'm going to have to like really weed out of this video, huh? Okay, here we go. You guys are very patient. All right, there we go. And you know what? I have some markers that I brought in. And I think I'm going to go ahead and just put a little bit of color in the center of this one. I'm just going to dot it a little bit here in the center. Look at that. There we go. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put that right like this, and we will put it up on some dimensionals on the top and the bottom. And that way we avoid getting it by the ribbon. Right. And that will just help it not get, otherwise it gets a little lumpy, right? There we go. And we can put our big thanks now right down here, and we'll just adhere that directly to, and the other thing we can do is we can kind of curve this just a little bit. Just a little. Don't want to bend it too much, just a little bit. And then we can put it on there. That'll be up just a tad. So again, we're just going to use some adhesive and put that right there in the middle. And we're just going to line up right along that edge. And there we go. And there is our card. I was thinking putting a little heart down here. But now let's see if we have any embellishments that we could put on here that maybe would look fairly nice. I don't know that I have any in here with me. Those might go. Nope. You know what? I'm going to put some the rhinestones on here, so I'll be sure to show that to you guys tomorrow when we do it. So, but there we go. There is our second day 2 project. I am loving it. This is day 1 that we did yesterday. So there you have it. So we're going to have a little voting when we're all done. But I like them both, but I don't know. This might be my favorite now, the blue one. All right, you guys, thanks so much for joining, and we will see you tomorrow. All right, take care. Bye.